Okay, with that being said, like I said, today's sermon is the last part 3 of the series that we've been teaching on, and you will be able to see the connection. Today's one, we're going to be discussing the mark, the name, and the number. Remember that last week, our focus last week was on Revelations 15, which was talking about the worship, and I said, a lot of us are jumping to Revelations 13 verse 16 that talks about the number, the mark and so forth. But we're skipping verse 15 of Revelations 13 that is about worship. So today then the focus is verse 16 of Revelation 13. And it reads, "And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark upon their right hand, upon their forehead, that no one should be able to buy or sell except he that has the mark, the name of the beast, and the number of his name." The title of today's sermon, today's teaching is the mark, the name, and the number. Go back to Revelations 13, verse 16. It says, he causes. Don't just skip any word that is being said. Pause. If it means take a dictionary, take a dictionary. Check. What does cause mean? Someone will say, what happened? What caused the accident? You can probably say, I was feeling sleepy. It's a cause. What happened? What caused this to happen? I was tired. What caused this to happen? I was hungry. There are certain circumstances that's going to cause something to happen. When this Revelation chapter 13 says he causes, meaning he enables, he allows things to happen that will make this. He causes people to be given a mark. What is it that will cause you to have a mark? Pressure will cause you to have a mark. What is it that will cause you to have a mark? Hunger will cause you. Because it says he causes. This scripture, every word means something. It didn't just say he put mark on people or he gave people mark. It said he caused. There are certain things that are going to happen that are going to cause this to happen. You to take that mark. Pressure, hunger, desperation, lack of preparedness. That's why the message we've been having for the past 2 weeks, and even the dream that I had, was about preparedness for what is happening. So that when it's causing these other people these things, you are not caught off guard. Remember that he will not just suddenly force people or suddenly force things to happen to you. That's why it says he caused. And that's why we learned last week about how the Israel were cunningly or deceived, tweaked into this thing and outsmarted into this. All right? Excuse me. Now, these are the words that I also want us to focus on, because we're going to be talking about this. It's the mark or the seal. It says that he causes that a mark be upon them on their right hand. We're going to talk about what is the representation of the right hand. Why the right hand? Upon the forehead. What about the forehead? The name. We've spoken a lot about the name and the number. Verse 18. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now here's the part also that is important, and I've said this example before. You need to know the fake by knowing that which is legit or that which is genuine. I used to say that I used to work at the bank, and what they teach you at the bank, they teach you the genuine money, genuine paper money, so that anything that you see, you can benchmark it against that which is genuine. Because if we were to learn the fake, how many fakes are you going to learn? Because people are very innovative out there. They'll keep on having this thing and this thing and this thing. So know that which is genuine, and then anything else that comes, you can be able then to benchmark it and match it against that which is genuine. So we're not going to be, and I spoke about this, that you're not going to be going out and saying, is this the mark of the beast? Is this the number of the beast? Is this a sign of the beast? Know what is Yahuah's mark. Know what is Yahuah's number. Know what is Yahuah's name. Any other thing, it's going to be against this which is original. Following? All right. So let's go into the definition. It says the seal. What is a seal? Or what is a mark? Because let's talk about Revelation 13 verse 16 about a mark. If you go through the dictionary, it says a seal is defined as something that confirms, ratifies, and makes secure. So a seal is something that confirms, like a stamp, ratifies, and makes secure. From the ancient history, seals were used to attest authorship of a document. I mean, you can see that from the history, you'll see a letter, like in an envelope kind of setting, but when it opens, it will have a seal. Then you will know that the letter is intact, and you will also know who the letter is from based on the seal, whether it's a king's seal or whoever seal is on it. But that's basically a mark. Remember, we need to know what is Yahuah's mark as his children. Then any other thing we're going to be able to say this is not of Yahuah. All right. The other thing also that is interesting, because we see even with government, as I've made example, government seals contain, in the main, it has 3 elements. The seal will have 3 elements, and those elements are the name, the title, and the territory. A seal has 3 things in the main: name, title, and territory. We can look at an example in Daniel chapter 1 verse 1. It talks about, we see this example, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, like if in the seal for Nebuchadnezzar will be written like Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar is the name. King is a title. Babylon is the territory. So we see the name, the title, and the dominion on a mark, on a seal. If we look at the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 12, it says, "And I also gave them my Sabbath to be a sign, to be a mark, to be a seal between them and me, to know that I am Yahuah who set them apart." So, we already know from the book of Ezekiel, before we get to the 10 Commandments, before we get to Leviticus 23, in fact, we started knowing about the Sabbath in Genesis after the creation, Genesis chapter 2. But he's referring this again and again, and he's talking about verse 20, Ezekiel 20, verse 20, it says, "And set apart a sign between me and them." Now, remember what I spoke about. I spoke about the focus we are wanting to learn. If Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, it says, he caused them to be given a mark. And we say we need to have a mark of Yahuah, because you cannot have 2 marks on one body. The letter does not have 2 marks. Then you're going to be confused whose letter is from, whose letter is to. 1 mark. In all our doing, let's make sure that we have Yahuah's mark. Then the other mark cannot have place in us. But if our letter, look at yourself, like I spoke about a vessel earlier on, that you are available for anyone to use it, think about it as an example of a letter. Any person then can put a mark, any person can put a stamp, any person can put a seal to it. Here's what is interesting now. If you go to Exodus chapter 20, where we find then the 10 commandments. Exodus chapter 20, from verse 10 to 11, that's where it talks about the Sabbath. But before verse 10, I want us to read verse 1. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. It says, I am Yahuah, your Yahuah, or your God. Other versions, it says actually, I am the Lord your God, which is, like I said, this is a confusion because Lord is a title, God is a title. So I also spoke, I had a whole teaching where I was teaching about the name, and that if you go to the physical copies of the Bible, in the preface, they do say that they replaced Yahuah's name with Lord and God. They say it was a scheme, it was a device. And think about this, how important is the name that even the seal contains the name, the title, and the territory, that they decided, those that are doing the translation of the word at that particular time, had access to this, that they decided to replace the name, to remove the name. But he says, I am Yahuah. He already declares what his name is. Your other version says Elohim, which is fine, or Elohim, but other version says God, which is a title. He already introduced himself with those 3. And then verse Exodus chapter 20, verse 11, then that's when it talks about, verse 10 talks about that you should, he says you need to guard the Sabbath, and verse 11 then talks about that you do not do any work, 6 days you should work, and that he made the heavens, the earth, and the sea, and he rested on the 7th day. So the heavens and the sea, that's actually talking about the place of territory. I know this is a difficult topic, but it's one of the important topics that we need to learn. Right. So we now know what the mark is. And the mark, the seal, the sign, which is a Sabbath, and it tells us in Ezekiel chapter 20 that this is a seal, this is a sign that distinguishes those that are his and those that are not his. All right. Why is the distinction being made? The distinction is being made because Revelation chapter 3 talks about that. He says that in his word, I will keep you in the hour of trial that will come to all men, because you have kept my word. Hence I spoke about pre-tribulation misconception, that people think I would have flown away when the Antichrist, when things happen, we won't be here. No. The trials are going to happen to all the inhabitants of the earth, if you will still be alive at the time, which most likely most of us will be alive when it happens. He will protect you. He will cover you, because he has set you apart from other people, because you have acknowledged his name, his word, his commandments. People read Psalms 91 like it's a poem. I will serve the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. You don't even know His name. You are calling Him by His title. You don't even want to know His name. But the word says, because He has acknowledged my name, I will protect Him. He will call on me. I will deliver Him. A lot of Christians, I'm sorry to say, and I'm not saying it's in judging, it hurts me, it pains me. In the dream that I had, my brother was not aware, was so oblivious of the times that we were living in. And there are people, and I said this, we were having this